morning, everybody. Happy Monday to you. I am Kitryn Marie. I am coming to you this morning from my studio. I am recording and I am going live. You know, a lot of times I like to think I know what I'm going to talk about, but I get on here and then it's like I go into a whole nother story. Right before I was getting ready to come on, I'm reminded that my dad has been gone 25 years this week. He was a different type of man. He was a difficult man. He loved his girls. He had good intentions for us, just oftentimes it didn't come off the way that we needed to hear it. But I know my dad is with me in spirit all the time. I know any little endeavor that I do, he laughs at me like, I cannot believe that you were doing that, but that's my girl, so go do. Many times he told me I was just like my mom, that I was a pipe dreamer, and I really see nothing wrong with that. We are products of our environment, and we are shaped by the experiences that happen in our life. Sadly, Mom died at the age of 31. A very long drawn-out story that I will get into at another time, but she did sing semi-professional. She worked for our local news station, and as a little girl, she would take me and my sister, and we were able to run around the back set of the newsroom. So we were kind of exposed to lights and cameras, being in a public eye. You don't really know a direction that you're going into until you kind of start thinking and planning a direction. And oftentimes we succumb to what other people expect us to be or what other people want us to be, and we take on roles that are not who we are, and we forget what our soul is about, and we forget about that contract that we have, that we made with our higher power. My sister Beth and I, we often talk about that the contract that Mom had with her God was, you can take me at a very young age, but I don't want my girls to fall prey to this, that, or the other. Sadly, her life was ended at a very young age. It did affect my sister and myself, and very much the choices that we have made in our life probably stems from the fact that we were abandoned, although our grandparents took really good care of us, but we were what we called orphaned. Dad was busy being a truck driver doing his thing. Mom was gone, and Grandma and Grandpa did the best that they could with what they had to work with. Grandpa was a musician. My grandma was a stay-at-home parent. Her and my Aunt Phyllis and my Aunt Sarah and our cousin Marina very, very much had a big hand in how we grew up. Our house was full of laughter, full of music. We all sang. Sadly, I developed an anxiety disorder, and it pretty much carried with me, and I really felt the brunt of all of it in the last 5 years. It's like you can take all these things and you can stuff them and shove them into this place, and you can try to be something that somebody else wants you to be, and then all of a sudden you're like, I can't do this, I can't live like this. And I can remember 2 different times in my life where I have felt like that. After my dad had died, I was in my marriage, and I wanted out, and I remembered it felt like I was losing my mind. I was so grief stricken because I was a daddy's girl, and that was the only kind of life and family that I had known up to that point, and I knew I couldn't live life like that anymore. And if you hear my voice shake a little bit, it is very upsetting to think about all of the things that I have endured up to that point, but those are also the things that have shaped who I am. Now, in the last 5 years, you know, I've had 2 female surgeries. I was diagnosed with a chronic illness. A serious relationship ended. My house went into foreclosure. My car was repossessed. The rug basically had been pulled up from underneath my feet, and I had decided that I needed to do something, but just wasn't sure what it was I was going to do. When a woman is heartbroken and there are no answers, there are always going to be pieces of a puzzle that are missing. And even to this day, I speculate on why things happened the way that they did. And I believe in God, and I believe in the higher power. And I believe it all had to happen in order for me to become the better part of what I am trying to achieve. I can tell you this though, as I was laying on that operating table, my white count had went sky high. My kids, the older ones, were there with me, and I felt like I was dying. And probably in the realistic part of it, I wasn't dying, but there were parts of me that had died. And I kept thinking, how is it he can go on with his life and pretend to play house or live in whatever little world he was trying to prove to live in, and here I am sick. I am trying to be healthy, and I am trying to go forward, and I was trying to set good examples for my kids. I was trying to be the bigger part of my environment, and I was trying to step out of the experiences that happened. And I remember right before they were putting me under for this female surgery, and again, this was a surgery from something that was left over from in 2011 that never really had gotten taken care of the way that it needed to be taken care of. So I'm dealing with all of this stuff right before I'm getting ready to be put under, and I remember saying, God, if I live through this, things are going to change, and I'm going to not be so afraid anymore to be who I am, and I'm going to take these experiences and I'm going to tell people about it, not because I am playing the victim, because I'll tell you what, you want to know my one pet peeve? I hate people who say, poor, poor, pitiful me. Things happen. Life happens. You live in the moment, and you live with the experience, and you are human, and you are entitled to feel sad, and you are entitled to be brokenhearted. You are entitled to cry and be angry. You are entitled to seek revenge, although the better part of you knows karma plays a big role in all of our lives. When you do good, good things come back to you. That's just how it is. So as I was recovering and I was healing and I was getting myself back in shape and back to living a more healthier lifestyle, bringing better things into my life, I started envisioning all the things that I wanted. I started envisioning this life that no one else would understand until I would start to do it, and I started to speak about it, and they could understand where it all stemmed from. So over the last couple years, I developed this KM Designs and the photography, and the anxiety that lived within me. When you are told you have an illness, when you are told you have any type of a cancer, your mind does this crazy thing. It's just human nature. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. But then there's that other part of you that's like, no, you're not. You're going to get through this, and you are going to figure it out, and you are going to work with your doctors, you are going to do yoga, you are going to do exercise, you are going to meditate, and you are going to bring into your life what you need to bring into to make yourself feel better, so you can prove to everybody else you are a survivor, and you do go forward, and you do develop a whole new life. You still cry, you still think, you still panic, you still worry, but you know what? I believe today is September 18th, 2017. The sun is shining, it is Monday, and I am standing. And I am here, and I am talking with you, and I'm trying to encourage and I'm trying to explain a little bit about why I'm doing the things I'm doing, why I'm wanting to help whomever with whatever lifestyle that they have. I have to ask, if you're not happy with what you're doing, what benefit are you doing for yourself? Where's the benefit? And if you're not happy with what you're doing, when are you going to decide to do something different? When are you going to decide that you have settled, that you have chosen less of who you are or what you are? You have fallen into a game of what life has expected you to be, what your family has put upon you, what your partner is pulling from you. And let me tell you, if your relationship is based on money, that is not the relationship that you were supposed to have. True love is from your heart. True love is about who you bring into your space, and you are accepted for the person you are, and you work together to gain the bigger steps. You know, I can get on a soapbox about that because I was told I didn't make enough money, I didn't have a career. Forget the fact that I had raised 2 kids already on my own, was raising a third one on my own, was maintaining a house, was maintaining a car, up to the whole world had turned upside down. And while I was providing a life for me and the other person and combining families, it wasn't enough. And sadly, in the end, the rug got pulled out from underneath me, and I was back to square one, trying to figure out why I wasn't good enough when the whole time I was good enough. And often what somebody seeks outside of the relationship is because there is something within them that lacks. And you date at the level of your self-esteem. You choose at the level of your self-esteem. Now, I'm not better than anybody. I never claim to be better than anybody. But my standard is a lot higher than what most people would expect, and my standard is probably about up here. But when you choose to live a life down here, you are guilty by association. And when you have done wrong, and you are associated with people who have done wrong, it shows your lack of credibility and or your integrity. So as I was starting to see these pieces that were missing within myself, I realized I really like talking, and I really like teaching, and I know I have something to say that somebody wants to hear. You know, there's always somebody worse off, there's somebody always better off. I said that the other day, and excuse me if I repeat myself, but sometimes lessons in life are repeated until learned. And sometimes I wonder how loud I have to talk in order for somebody to get the message, whether they are ready to receive the message or not. It's out there. It's out there. And it resonates within myself. It resonates within whoever's watching in my audience, or whoever is listening to any of the words. You have to look at yourself in the mirror. You have to ask yourself, how do you live with yourself? How do you live with all the choices that you've made? When you continue to choose the same, you're getting the same thing. You haven't evolved, you haven't awakened, you haven't grown as a person. And once you realize you haven't grown, you are stuck in the environment in which possibly you grew up in, because that's all you know. And it's easy to stay stuck. You have to put hard work and effort into change. And when you recognize the patterns and the behavior is when you decide you're going to change and to become bigger and better, not than anybody else, but who you were before. So I started developing these classes that I am now teaching. And I really, really want to encourage anybody who is looking to find a different way of thinking, a better way of living, by imagining that there is a life outside of what you know. Too many women get involved with narcissistic, abusive relationships, and their mind has been told one thing when that is not the truth. It is a lie, and you have been told a lie, and you have been made to live the lie. When you are creating a vision board, you are creating images of a life that you want to live. Now, because of my photography and because of my anxiety disorder, I pretty much had shut down for about 2 years. I was like, I went and I worked and I did my regular gig like I was supposed to, but I was shutting down. I could feel myself going into this depression. I could feel myself just being a nervous wreck all the time. But if I grabbed my camera and if I made myself get in the car and leave and start to drive, I looked at things from a whole other perspective, from a whole other perception. Now, as the artist in me, I can look at a tree and I can find the beauty in a negative because there are images and shapes in both black and white. Not everything is always in color. There are different shades of everything. There are variances in any image. And I thought, well, if I'm going to be teaching these law of attraction classes, I can teach painting classes and I can offer the same principle. So I've got all kinds of running around I needed to do today. I wanted to briefly, though, talk with you. It is hard to be live and to record at the same time. I feel like half the time I'm falling all over my words. It's usually a spur of the moment thing, but things that I feel spirit has come to me, my higher power, my guardian angels, as my sister likes to say, they're with all of us all of the time. And no matter what you believe or who it is that you pray to, you have to understand there is more of a life that is meant for you to live. I am Kitryn Marie. I am a writer. I am an artist. I am a photographer. I am a speaker. I am an instructor. I ask you to take one of my classes. You can sign up at Mystic Valley over on Manchester. They're located at 7241 Manchester. You can call them at 314-645-3336. Ask them about their law of attraction classes. Ask them about their spirit painting classes. If you have any questions at all, you can email me at kitrynmarie@gmail.com. You can see all my work at kitrynmarie.weebly.com. Feel free to share any of my videos. Feel free to leave a comment underneath. We are products of our environment, but we are shaped by all the experiences that happen to us. So on this Monday, September 18th, be happy, be blessed, be thankful for everything that happens to you. There is a bigger and a better world out there waiting for you. And I'm hoping I can help you to aspire to live a different life. I'll talk to you soon. Enjoy your day.